I don't know how many times I've found myself desiring something online, an item, a fucking product, anything, and say it's real expensive. Say it's a expensive tool for my wood shop, or an expensive synthesizer for this studio, or even this fucking little $400 microphone right here. I don't know how many times I've found myself wanting these things, hitting the buy button on them, and then in between that time it comes in the mail and it gets to my house, looking at reviews, watching videos about it. Is this gonna be what the fuck I want it to be? Blah, 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 reading all this shit about it, watching how people use it, all these different things. Is it right for me? Is it right for me? All these things I tell myself in my head. And then whenever I get the son of a bitch, oftentimes I use it a lot again, like this microphone. I use it a lot, but I forget about it and I don't really have like thoughts about it. It's just sitting there on the stand, or the synthesizer just sitting on my desk. I've used it in the past couple days, but I don't ever think about it. So why was I thinking about it so heavily before it came into my possession, instead of just being like, it'll be here when it gets here and then I'll get to explore it? Why did I want it before I had it? Why did I want to find out so much about it before I had it? That's a desire, my friend. We have all these desires. We have physical desires. We have desires in our own mind that we want our mind to be. We have other physical desires. We have all sorts of shit that all lead back to desires. And there's a problem that people do when it comes to their desires. And that is, when they get a desire, they choose to be unhappy until they fulfill that said desire. Another example of certain desires that are real popular and been popular since the beginning of time is the desire of money, the desire of status. These are games per se that some can play and be done with. Some might beat the goals that we have about these games, and they just want to keep going, and it seems like it's never enough for them. There's so many different angles to look at this. And for me, the angle I always look at it from is, how do I be happy with these desires? How do I take on a desire, or play the game, if you will, without being unhappy for the duration? And it always leads back to present moment. Am I walking down the street? Am I living my life thinking in the present moment right now while making this video? Am I thinking about regrets of the past or delusions of the future? No. Every fucking word, I'm in like a flow state. Every one of these videos, I love doing them. Even though the quality might not be the best, who the fuck cares? I feel like I'm in a flow state. I'm not thinking about the future or the present. It's just in the moment what's coming out of my fucking mouthpiece from my dome piece. Straight to you boys. And that, I feel happy right now. My definition of happy is peace. I don't want to be blissful. I don't want to feel like I'm coming out of my penis while just sitting in a chair. I don't want to feel like ecstatic or any like tingling feelings. That's not happiness for me. Happiness to me is peace. I'm not worried. I'm not anxiety ridden. There's not a bunch of chatter going on. Nothing, no bullshit. That is pure happiness. But when you introduce all these desires, it gets clogged up and it gets fucking rattle-daddled in your brain. And instead of just being present in the moment and being like, you know what, I got all this music equipment around me. Let me just presently, which I know it's a very fucking trite word nowadays, the word be present. But it's the easiest way to describe it. No thoughts of the future, no thoughts of the present, just flow state in the present. Let me just pick up this guitar and just see where I go with it. Let me just play these keys and see where I go with it. Let me, I have an idea of what I want to build in my wood shop. Let me just go out there and just get it done and not think about anything except for, maybe I could add a little bit of paint. Maybe I could add these cuts in this direction that make it look like this. That is peace. That is happiness, my friend. And it is achievable while you are playing these games of desire. there's a couple of things that you really have to do if you want to achieve this happiness while chasing the desire. First and foremost, you have to calm the anxiety chatter in your brain, okay? You know what I'm talking about. It's the shit where you sit down or you're driving somewhere and you're like, what the fuck did I just have that thought? It's like thoughts that make no sense, thoughts that are just negative, thoughts really that don't have any fucking meaning, don't hold anything. It's just taking up space in your brain, and your mind constantly jumps from them, blink, 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 all over the fucking place. Maybe you've tried to meditate before, and it's just a bunch of bullshit in your head, just thinking about this, thinking about that. I'm no different, my boy, but I've also learned how to manage it, and I've learned how to not get rid of it, because I still have a lot of these thoughts, honestly. But I've learned a way to kind of suck back and be back in that present moment from all those thoughts. And a couple of them, again, a lot of this shit is cliche, but shit is cliche. People say a lot of cliche things that a lot of other people say because they are the things that work. When people discover the answers, they're not going to change that shit up and try to find some fucking magical, unique, fairy method. Lots of these methods work. Things like journaling. Say you have a thought, an idea, a philosophy, if you will, that's unique to you, that came in your own brain with analogies and things that fit to you. Write that shit down on a piece of paper or in the notes on your phone. It doesn't really matter. Don't fucking be like, oh, I gotta write on paper. It doesn't fucking matter. Document that shit. The act of, I don't know why, but the act of documenting it, if it's a profound thought and it's something that you truly care about and something that makes you be like, all the chatter for a second clears and it's just that thought, even if it's for just 5 seconds. Write that shit down, document it, notate it, make sure you have that. The act of doing that does something, I swear to God, where it just like ingrains it in your brain, writing it out slowly on paper. So that meditation, I'm not the most consistent meditator. I've tried a lot of different methods. I've tried the fucking mantra transcendental shit. I've tried the breath work. I've tried just sitting there and letting my thoughts run wild. I don't really think it matters too heavily which method you use. You'll see fucking David Lynch type people be like, oh, if you don't do transcendental meditation, it's the way to bliss. It's the way to this and that. I don't really think so. I just feel like it's a good practice to put everything fucking aside and just be in this space right here for a prolonged period of time. 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. It doesn't fucking matter. Just when you get free time and you're thinking in your head like, what am I going to do with this free time? I got like 5 minutes. I got an hour. Just try it out. You have nothing to lose. And you get to try the shit that all the fucking people are talking about, that you hear people yap about on the internet over and over and over again. So, those two things. Next thing. How do we get into the present moment? This is the third practice that that thing that just sucks me back in. And it's a little bit harder to convey with words. It's kind of just something that happens in here. But let's just use some examples. Let's say I'm reading a book. Right now, I've been reading the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. It's a pretty good book. Has a very healthy view of chasing money. Has a very healthy view of happiness. This is really where I got the idea for this video this morning. I was going to do something totally different. And I decided to try to combine these elements that really were in my head this morning from that book. And perfect example. Say you're reading a book and all of a sudden you realize that you're not reading the words anymore and you're just thinking about something in your head. Oh man, I got a nail in my tire yesterday and I got a fucking 3-hour road trip to go on. I put a plug in it, but it was on the sidewall of the tire and I don't really know if it's going to hold. A little anxiety chatter starts coming into your brain. This is a real example that just happened to me about 20 minutes ago. All of a sudden, we do this. We'll do this because we're not fucking retarded people. We're human beings. We'll focus back to what we were doing. Most people that chatter doesn't last for hours. It's just like a quick little like 30-second interval thing, and then you're back and you see the fucking words on the page, and you're just like, well, where the fuck did I just go? And then you got to trace back your words and start again. That little practice right there. I don't know if it's beneficial to allow that to happen, that little mind wandering. But for me, it almost enacts it like a rep of curls in the gym. It's like the practice of like, I don't know how I do it. I still got to experiment a little bit and like figure out what it is that gets me zoned back in. Maybe it's fucking blinking my eyes or tapping my shoes 3 times and I'm back in fucking La La Land. Who knows? But it's like that practice of just doing that with the book will translate to me doing that with the drum set, or doing that with my instruments, or doing that in the shop, or doing that building a house. I might pause for a second and start thinking about something in the future, or something in the past. And it's like a repetition to find a way to snap myself back to my work and just keep going. Just keep going, because you're going to be in that period of work longer than you're in that period of fucking delusion, thinking about the future, stressors, or regrets of the past. So, explore that. I'm not the fucking yogi guru. I'm not that. I'm not a master meditator. I'm none of these things. All I am is an observer of shit that happens to me, and I try to work around it. And I try to figure out and ask questions. Why? How did I do that? Is that transferable to all my other skills? What just happened there? And yeah, you got to learn to do that on your own. You got to learn to quit watching these fucking YouTube videos, making you angsty and making you desperate because you're not in Alex Hormozy's fucking school. You got to learn to do things off of your own interests and the things that you like doing, and be in the present moment. Fucking examine each desire you have. Is it your true desire? If it's not your true desire, you're gonna have a really fucking hard time finding that happiness or that peace. If it is your true desire, all right. Now you know you found things that you really enjoy doing. So it's going to be extremely easy for you to experiment and figure out ways to feel peaceful and do it. For me, it's fucking easy. Cut out all the other distractions, and then all you're left with is the distractions in your mind, and that's fucking easy to deal with because that's you and you. There's no fucking... You're not fighting any other person trying to take over this space in here. You're literally just fucking figuring this shit out and finding things that work for you. So chase paper, enjoy nature, my boy, and have a good one. This was a quick little ramble on present and whatever the fuck. Yeah.